Yo, what is up, y'all? My name is Devin, and today I'm going to be talking about why educating cis people is exhausting. Before you think I'm jumping to conclusions, please hang around because I'm not pulling this out of a hat, okay? I'm not just making this up. It can be genuinely mentally exhausting to educate cis people. But before I get into that, if you are new here, and not subscribed, definitely go ahead and press that subscribe button down below to help my channel grow. If you are interested in working together, my email is going to pop up over here. I do create custom meal plans and custom training plans. I'm also going to include my website link down below, which includes my cookbook Healthy Doesn't Suck, which is high in protein, as well as my dumbbell only training plan, which is great if you're training from home. Also, if you want to work together on the one-on-one coaching level, you can fill out a coaching application, which is also going to be linked down below. Now, I'm done plugging myself. Let's go ahead and get into the video. What do I mean when I say educating cis people is exhausting? I think that we first have to boil it down to being in a situation where you are the only trans person in a room or in an environment that is cis majority, right? Places like work, places like school. Work, I think, is the biggest one because there can be a power dynamic and, you know, you're trying to keep your job, you're not trying to go off on people, and you're just trying to make things as easy as possible. Like, you're not going to stand your ground to the same degree as if you were in a social setting, right? Or at least I personally never have, just because I was like, oh, I don't want to be that sensitive snowflake trans person in the workplace. You're like afraid of confirming the stereotypes that are out there around trans people, right? Educating for myself looked like cis people asking me, did you get the surgeries? I literally had an ex-boss of mine. I was an assistant manager. He was the actual manager. Asked me like, so how do you and your girl, literally that's exactly what he said. And he was looking at me like I was going to give him like a straight up real serious fucking podcast type of answer. And I was just like, bro, like, we're not going to discuss this right now. There was a point in time early in my transition where I didn't have the ability to be stealth. And I know that a lot of people view being stealth as like you're hiding or you're not proud of being trans. As someone who has not always had the ability to be stealth, I can say being stealth is such a freaking privilege, bro. Like, don't look down on people for being stealth because it can literally like save your brain. If you come out to someone or if they just know that you're trans, whether like the name on the roster is your dead name, whether, you know, they knew you before you started transitioning or you started transitioning at work or at school, you sort of serve as, you know, all the way that trans people are seen in the media, every little crumb of a concept of a trans person that they may have, they expect you to fill in the gaps for them. Realistically, that's not my job. I will have people tell me, well, Devin, like, you got to carry the torch, bro. Like, you got to be the responsible one. You got to make sure that these people are not ignorant out here. There are tons of trans folks, non-binary folks, you know, binary trans folks who, you know, their sole mission is to educate people. It's to spread love.
Hi there, I'm a full person.
I'm not built like that. I don't have the patience for that. My education wheelhouse is more so around fitness, health, and nutrition, things like that. And that's where I do have patience. I have an abundance of patience towards that. But when it comes to being the voice of every trans person that cis people are ever going to interact with, that's not a burden that I can carry. It honestly leaves a mental damper on me, right? Like, this cis person will have asked this very invasive question, and to them it's just like, I just asked you a quick question, bro. It's not a big deal. But in reality, there's a whole history tied to that question. After they leave, after their day goes on, you're still sitting there thinking like, I feel mad violated. I feel like this person is way too comfortable with me. Did I set up this relationship? Did I set up this, you know, expectation that I was going to be comfortable asking these invasive ass questions? Honestly, I used to blame myself. Like, when people would ask me such personal questions about like, you know, how did I know I was trans? Have I ever been with a dude? How did I know that I was attracted to females? Like, even before I started to transition, the invasive questions around just being an assigned female at birth person who was attracted to other females, even those questions were invasive. Every time I got asked these invasive questions, I would question myself, like, what did I do? Like, what did I do to make this person think that they should be so comfortable with me? Am I a pushover? Am I weak? Am I soft? That sort of made me develop this hard exterior shell towards people who are not within the community, right? It made me feel like I had to be on guard. It made me feel like I couldn't trust people. Overall, it made me feel like anytime people perceive trans people, it was within a actual context. It was within an actual context, okay? We're gonna use coded words here. I'm not trying to go there. The reason I say this is because in my experience, the primary course of questions that I always get around being trans are based on, you know, body parts. It's based on myself and my partner. It's based on my history, how I used to be female, have I ever been with men, things like that. Very rarely have I gotten questions that were, you know, more nuanced. Very rarely have I gotten questions that were more introspective. So that sort of made me jaded towards answering questions at all. And I feel like a lot of transphobia comes from a place of thinking that trans people are like perverted or, you know, like we have some weirdness going on, when in reality, mentality. Like, a lot of us are actually asexual. It's not how children ask questions because they're genuinely curious and they have no, they have no biases towards it. It's almost like questions with malintentions, looking to confirm whatever biases they may have. And I don't like to speak in blanket statements. I have had positive interactions with cis people who are genuinely curious, but I don't know. That's just my experience. It just kind of showed me the perspective that some cis people can have towards trans people, and ultimately at the end of the day, I'm never going to put my mental health in a compromised state to answer a question that Google can very much so provide the answer to. If you feel like educating cis people is a responsibility that we carry, I'm very interested to hear your thought process. Feel free to drop that in the comments. And like I always say, Devin loves you, Devin to Dawn, and Devin is out of here, boy.